Lila had no idea that John was already falling. And honestly, worse or maybe better, she wasn't falling alone. That night, after she returned home from the unexpected non-date, she lay awake staring at her ceiling, replaying every moment, every laugh, every conversation, every gentle, harmless gesture that, well, suddenly didn't feel harmless anymore. It had been years since she'd felt anything outside the circle of survival. Years since she'd looked into someone's eyes and seen warmth aimed directly at her. For so long, she existed in battle mode, fighting court cases, fighting depression, fighting her in-laws, fighting to keep Noah safe, fed, loved, happy. But that one night, that one moment of ease, had cracked open a door she wasn't prepared for. A door she wasn't sure she wanted opened. Because behind it stood a risk that came with love, loss, judgment, drama. And, the unpredictable reactions of people who still believed they had control over her life. And above all, Noah. Noah, who was sleeping peacefully in his small bed across the hall. Noah, the only constant joy in her storm-filled world. Lord, what am I supposed to do with this? Over the next few days, Lila moved in slow motion, like someone walking through water. She went to work, went to school, picked up Noah from daycare, attended church, but her thoughts followed her everywhere. What if John just meant it as kindness? What if I'm reading too much into it? What if opening my heart ruins everything? What if Micah finds out? He'll lose his mind. What if his mother finds out? She will tear me to pieces. What if Noah feels confused? Every thought spiraled into another fear, and every fear spiraled into guilt. She found herself watching John from a distance at church, not intentionally, but in that subconscious way that people do when something inside them has shifted. He had always been friendly, but now she noticed new details: how respectful he was with others, how soft he was with children, how he spoke gently, how he carried himself without arrogance, and how, when their eyes met, he looked at her like she wasn't broken, like she wasn't a woman who had gone through hell and back, like she wasn't someone constantly fighting off battles on every front. He looked at her as if she deserved joy. And that, honestly, terrified her more than anything. The idea of Micah finding out about this scared her deeply. Not because she still loved him. Those days were long gone. But because Micah operated in unpredictable patterns. 1 minute supportive, the next minute manipulated by the influence of his mother. She knew that if he felt threatened, he could turn cold, or petty, or vindictive. He could use Noah as leverage, as he had attempted many times before. And then there was his family, who already treated her like an outsider even when she was married to their son. She imagined the judgment in their eyes. She moved on too quickly. She's replacing Micah. She's trying to take Noah away from us. She's not thinking of the child, as if they ever thought of her. She knew they still watched her every move. She still felt their eyes on her at every pickup and drop-off. The subtle comments. The questions asked in that smiling but not smiling tone. The way Micah's mother still somehow tried to control Noah's schedule, even though the court had awarded Lila primary care. Falling in love again, or even entertaining the idea, felt like lighting a match beside a pool of gasoline. More than anything, she worried how a new man would affect Noah. He was only 3, still fragile in his understanding of the world, still adjusting to the separation. Lila feared confusing him, destabilizing him, or triggering more friction between households. What if Noah gets attached, and it doesn't work out? What if Micah thinks John is replacing him? What if Noah gets caught in the middle? She paced her living room late at night, thinking about these things while Noah slept with his thumb in his mouth, a habit he picked up during the court battles. Her heart squeezed. I can't break his heart. 2 days after the birthday outing, John sent her a message. Hey Lila, thank you again for the evening out. I hope your week is going smoothly. No pressure, I just wanted to check on you. No pressure. except her heart reacted as if those 2 words carried the entire weight of the world. She waited 8 hours to respond, drafting her message 3 times before finally typing, "Thank you, John. It was a nice break from everything. I appreciate your kindness." He responded almost instantly, "You deserve a break, and kindness is the least you should ever expect." Her heart gave a painful, longing twist. He didn't ask her out again. He didn't push. He didn't hint. He simply left the door open, wide enough for her to walk through, but not wide enough to scare her. That Sabbath morning, Lila walked into church holding Noah's hand. She was wearing a simple white dress and her hair pinned back, but she still felt unusually self-conscious. As she entered the sanctuary, she made the mistake of glancing toward the musicians area. John was standing there tuning his guitar. He looked up, their eyes locked for half a second, and she saw it clearly. He was falling, and the realization that she was falling too hit her like a sudden gust of warm wind. She quickly looked away, her pulse thundering. That morning, she could barely focus on the sermon. She felt John's presence from across the room like a silent hum in the air, comforting but frightening. When service ended, she tried to leave quietly through the side aisle, but Noah ran ahead to greet another child and she was forced to slow down, which was exactly when John approached. "Happy Sabbath, Lila." "Happy Sabbath, John." Their voices were polite, but their eyes told another story. Uncertainty, curiosity, hesitation, and something else they were both too scared to name. He bent down to Noah. "Hey, little man, did you have a good week?" Noah nodded shyly, clutching his toy car. John smiled and stood again. "I won't keep you long. I just wanted to say, if you ever need help with anything, school, work, Noah, you can always reach out. No expectations." Lila's breath caught. There it was again, that gentle, patient, steady kindness. Kindness she wasn't sure she deserved. Kindness she wasn't used to. Kindness that could make someone fall in love. She nodded, unable to speak. He smiled softly, then stepped back and walked away. And her heart followed him for 3 steps before she forced it to return. The following week was emotional torture. You deserve happiness. Remember what happened the last time you followed your heart. John isn't Micah. Everyone seems good at first. Noah needs a whole and healed mother. Noah needs stability, not distraction. She couldn't talk to Micah. That was impossible. She couldn't talk to her mother. She would panic. She couldn't talk to friends. People in church talked too much. The only place she poured out her thoughts was into her prayers. "Lord, if this is not your will, take the feelings away. And if it is, give me courage, because right now I'm terrified." Just when she thought her waking hours were complicated enough, Micah's mother began calling more frequently, sometimes twice in a day. She wanted updates on Noah. She wanted to adjust the visitation schedule. She wanted to demand that Noah spend more time at their home. She wanted to know if Lila was entertaining any friends. There it was. Someone had noticed something, or someone had guessed, or maybe someone just feared losing control. It was subtle, but the tone was unmistakable. Still cares? Micah hadn't cared for years, but Lila remained calm. She didn't reveal a single detail. Not one. "Thank you for your concern. Noah is my top priority." A week later, after Wednesday night prayer meeting, John offered to walk her to her car. It was dark, and several young families walked together in small groups. She hesitated, but she allowed it. Noah was half asleep in her arms, his head resting on her shoulder. John kept his distance respectfully, hands in his pockets, steps measured. When they reached her car, he opened the door for her, gently, without making it a performance. "I know you're cautious, Lila, and you have every right to be. Life hasn't been fair to you." She swallowed. "But I just want you to know that whatever you're battling, you don't have to battle it alone." His words pierced her chest, not in a painful way, not in a romantic way, in a healing way. a way she wasn't ready for. She whispered, "Thank you." And he nodded as if he understood everything she didn't say. That night, after putting Noah to bed, Lila sat on the edge of her mattress and did something she hadn't done in a while. She allowed herself to imagine what life might look like if she let someone love her again. She imagined a home without hostility, a partner who respected her, a peaceful co-parenting environment, a man who cared for Noah without trying to replace his father, a future filled with healing instead of fear, and for the first time in many years, the idea didn't feel impossible. It felt terrifying, but it also felt warm, alive, hopeful. Yet just as her heart began to soften, her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. And when she opened it, her stomach dropped, her hands trembled, her fingers went cold, because the message contained information she never expected, and it came from someone who had been watching her closely. The past wasn't finished with her, not even close, and whatever was coming next would test everything she had just begun to feel. Stay tuned for the next episode. Eyes everywhere.